Hi, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Joey Evans.
And today we're talking about a game from Ivy Studios called Tend, which I think is important for us to say because if you only see the cover, you would not know the title of it.
Agreed.
I think. It's like,
T-Ned.
we're going to say many good things about this game. I don't get this logo on the front at all.
The typeface of it, TED 2.
The fact that it's in a square, but it's also really small. Like, it's not big on the box. You're like, well, they couldn't fit that on.
This is going to affect our score by at least 3 points.
And here's the thing. This is a really hefty game.
It is.
That's the retail box.
Normal version. This is the deluxe one. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Tend is a game about fishing, mining, chopping down trees, and also tending. It is a roll and right. No, it's a flip and right where you're flipping cards.
Flip and scratch and mark and stamp
Sniff
and everything are right.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in this game. Here's an overview. In Tend, each player is going to have 2 very large sheets. The second sheet that they have is pretty critical with the cargo manifest. This is where the vast majority of your points are going to come from over the course of a game. As the game comes by, you're going to be either using pencils or markers to fill in various shapes in here. Whenever you get different resources, you can sell them for money, or you can put the shapes, rotating them and flipping them, into this grid. Each player's sheet is going to tell them, it's going to be slightly different here, every square that's colored in this grid is going to be worth 1 point. But for example, in this section, green squares are worth nothing. In this section, green squares are worth 2. And in this section, blue squares are worth 0. And again, that's going to change from player to player. Filling in an entire row will give bonuses, and possibly having other things filled in will help you out during the game. And there's a few other ways to get points, but this is the main way. The whole game works towards this end. A game will last 12 rounds, and in each round, players are going to do 2 actions. How to pick your actions or tasks in this game comes from a deck of cards. There's going to be a starter 5 cards out here with a little deck, and each round of the game, after players are picking their actions, then all the cards will be discarded. 2 cards from the tops of these piles will come down. This is in Season 1. And then 3 more cards from here will be turned face up. Then the rest of these cards are discarded, and this deck will be constantly churning, and these cards will have more and more actions as time goes by. Sometimes they'll give you an action. You can pick between 2 different tasks. And if you have 2+ mining levels, you get a bonus. If you have 1 animal owned, you get a bonus. If you have 1 trellis built, you get a bonus. And the bonuses get better and better, but they also get harder to accomplish as the game goes on. By the way, there's also going to be objectives that will be scored at the end of each season. And these are very specific things. If you accomplish them, you're also going to get points. This is the other main way to get points. Now, as players are picking from these actions, there are 4 main actions in the game: mining, fishing, chopping, and tending. There are actions like this where you can just take 2 coins, but these are the actions that are going to progress on how you get the stuff to put in your cargo manifest. Let's talk about them. Most of your actions are going to happen on this page here. And I should also mention, as the game goes by, as you get resources, you can cross things off. For example, if I want a fishing upgrade, let's say I get 2 coins, I can cross off 2 coins here, cross off an extra coin, 3 coins total, and cross off a wood, and now I have an upgraded fishing rod. And so there's all kinds of things you can cross off these 3, which give you an energy bar, which you can use twice, which will give you an extra bonus action. And there are different other things that you can buy over the course of the game. And in fact, you can even do that on the other sheet. You can turn coins in for a resource you need badly, and extra resources you can spend here to get metals. Metals will often turn into the purple shapes that you can put in your manifest, and you can even get a ton of bonus points if you get all 3 metals of each section. But let's talk about these actions, like I said. And so the first action that we're going to take a look at is going to be the fishing action. Now, on a fishing action, when you do that, you're going to roll 2 dice. And so this is a 1 and a 4, and guess what? I got nothing. Each die has a symbol on it that says anything, so this would have been better. I could have picked one of these fish that I can caught, remembering that fish can be turned into the blue shapes that you put in your thing or turned in for money. Now, as the game goes by, though, you'll want to get the upgrades, which will let you fish in a spot next to where you roll, or all the sides, or even let you fish twice and get 2 things. You also have the opportunity to unlock river fishing, which is a better chart as time goes by, or even lake fishing and grotto fishing, which have better fish and less open spaces. Each player will also have one of these random sheets, which if you run out in the box, you can get more, but you can also go online and just use an app for this. You don't have to do these. These are scratch-off sheets, and this will be for chopping and for mining, and they both kind of work the same way. When it's your turn, you are going to cross off a section on here, which in this case gives me another one, so I can cross off 2, and you'll find something. So here I found a mining resource. It shows you what kind of resources that you will find in each section. So the better stuff's farther down, but it will cost extra actions to go down there. You can find resources to go farther on these tracks, and you can upgrade your chopping and mining and get bonuses if you find there's going to be specific squares when you find them. They're going to let you upgrade on those. And then there's also equipment that will let you do more things. But both of these are the same, and you use a scratch-off card, or like I said, just an app. The final basic action is tend. Now with tend, there are various things that you can do. You can basically till. You already have some of your ground tilled. Or you can build fences, and you're tilling to plant resources. You're going to be able to plant these little vegetables here. When you plant them, you'll start at this number 1, and then each round of the game, you'll rotate them. And when it gets to a white symbol, you get that plant. And when it shows an X, you'll get the plant, but also it's gone. Once you build enough fences, you can also instead put in animals. So I can put in a cow who will give me milk every couple rounds, and that will keep happening. Those don't go away, unlike the resources. When the pumpkin goes, when I get the pumpkin, it will go away completely. And all these different resources are the green shapes. So when you mine, you find stuff to get the yellow shapes. You spend resources to get the purple shapes through the trophies. The blue shapes are fishing. The green shapes are tilling. What are these red shapes? The red shapes come from neighbor cards. So on your turn, you're going to have some things that you want from your neighbors. And if your neighbors ever get this is one of those little berries. These are some of the fish that you get. As you get these, you can give them, instead of taking them, give them to your neighbor. They're going to actually get that resource to use on the next turn. Well, why would I want to help my opponents out? Because you will get rewards here. Some of them, these are hard to find things, every time you help your neighbor out. And at the end of the game, you'll get points if you've given your neighbor more things than they have given you. And you also get those cool red shapes. So that's basically it. There is a ton of stuff. I can only spend 1 coin once per game to get a wood. Oh, all these trophies. You're never going to be able to do everything in this game. But your whole goal is you're going to be scoring for each of these sections. You're going to be scoring for those objective cards that are going to show up each round of the game. They'll happen at the end of these rounds here. And then you'll score some points if you finish these over here. The most points is the winner.
Since this is from IV Studios, I will give credit, as always, to their... we made fun of I made fun of, I'm not dragging these guys into, the title on the front. But I like the way this game looks. I think the components are really good.
Yeah, components are great.
I think they're really good. I think that there's a lot. And that's going to be the one thing I think that people are going to complain about the game, is that when you have these 2 sheets, plus a little scratch-off sheet, plus a board that tells you what everything does, plus a pair of dice, plus a set of markers, and that's a lot to throw at someone. This is the biggest of these type of games I've ever played, and that includes Twilight Inscription. Yes,
I don't
for sure.
see that.
Twilight Inscription's 4 boards. You're done.
I see that it's bigger, but here's the difference, I think, compared to Twilight Inscription, Hadrian's Wall. I do think this actually makes sense as far as the rules. Once you get them, you do have a lot of components, but, point to a Eurogame that you don't.
I'm not complaining necessarily. I'm just saying there's a lot, and that's going to be a barrier to entry.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. You're not going to
this is definitely
jump welcome to this, but go ahead.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's the thing. This is a pretty heavy game. It also just happens to use the roll and write type structure to it.
Right, which is funny how that would be for some people that's a barrier. They're like, oh, I love heavy games. How about roll and writes? Those shouldn't be heavy. I'm like, I disagree. If you can do one really well, you know what? Let's do it.
I'm not sure who you're arguing with there.
I'm
but-
arguing with you.
Okay.
Last name Man,
You know
first
who you
name
are.
Straw.
So anyway, there's a lot of components. The color pencils and markers. It's nice that they have them. If you buy these, the one thing I know that people can complain about that I like that they thought ahead of time is the scratch off cards.
Yes.
In the base game, you get 100, which is enough for 25 4-player games.
It's also the same number of sheets that you get. So it's 100
Right.
play. Yeah.
Right.
But you can go online and just use the app to do the scratch off, which is a little satisfying, And in fact, you might even if you don't run out of sheets, you might prefer that because you might not like the scratch off thing.
And the randomness of those apps, and there's a lot of different features inside of the app that you can hit. That is one thing I like, the fact that people are going to open these every time you do a roll and write. You're going to have that like, what if I run out of papers? Which honestly, let's be honest, most of the time you don't. But this, they thought ahead, even with the markers. You don't need the stamp markers. You can just use a colored pencil on them. It doesn't matter. So they did think of all that.
I think that, you're going to get plenty of plays out of this. And if you, I should double check this, but I think you can just buy more of the pads of paper.
Sure.
I'm sure, yeah.
And so, I think that if you play through all 100 of them, you probably like the game and good, right?
Right.
So, I don't think the finiteness of it is an issue for me. But I will say about the app, using that for the forest and for the cave delving, I think some people will like it because it's just physically cleaner, but also because as you're using a coin, they include a metal coin, which is really nice, even in the retail one, to scratch off those areas. It might be imprecise. You might accidentally scratch a little into the neighboring zone, and you know what I mean? And so I think that some people are going to be a bit bothered by that, would prefer the digital guaranteed clean thing.
Yeah.
But also, if someone does accidentally, it doesn't bother me because you're exploring in a cave. You kind of see into the next room. Good enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like playing with you. You're like, I kind of see something over there. Okay.
The game itself is a bunch of mini games put together to make a larger game.
Yes.
Like I said, it's all about building the shapes into that cargo thing, which is honestly pretty boring by itself. It's the ends. The means is what's interesting. The
Yeah.
fishing, the chopping, and the
yeah.
mining, which are essentially the same game, and
Right.
then the tending. And I said them in the order I like doing them. Fishing is my favorite. I would play a whole game based
You
on that.
really would.
Roll dice. But I also really like the mining and the
Do too.
and the chopping. My one negative on the game, this is, and I know it sounds like I've had several, but I really do like it a lot how the games look. My one negative on the game is the tending, and I like the tending; it's fine. I just find it really weird that they have this oddly shaped field with some areas already tilled, and with some areas already having a fence around them, and it just is a weird starting point to me. Like, why not? Why isn't it a square? Why is it not different per sheet? It's always that same one. So and then they have just the mathology of it's a little weird. Like on a 10 action, you can add 6 more, and you start with I think 6, so that's 12, which is weird. I can do the 9, the dice that needs a 3x3,
Yeah.
but not the 16. And if I want to do the 16, I have to go over and the fences. I just found that to be a bit odd with all the other differentiation that they did. The cargoes are different on every sheet, or they're different every 5 sheets or whatever. That's the same. I find 10, which the game's named after, to be slightly less interesting because of that.
You want it to be called fish.
It's also the fiddliest of all the actions. Fish,
yeah.
you roll some dice, do it. Mine and chop, you scratch some stuff off and get them. It's really easy. 10, you go, okay, I'm going to till some soil. Okay, to put this particular fruit on, I also need to buy a trellis. I got to build these fences, and I turn them. They don't
forgot about the
go
fences.
off until you get the white side of the die.
Yeah.
And again, I still like tending, actually. It just feels very different than the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think so, and it's probably a strong feature to make the namesake of the game because it is the most different. If you named a fish, you're like, yeah, fish is kind of,
Well,
fish
10 is an
basic.
unusual name. I get
Yeah.
why they did that.
Right, yeah. But if you're going to name it after an action after it, I think it is kind of it has the possibility of being the most satisfying part if you set it up well. I think that in defense, maybe of that weird shape of the tending area, is that per the mathology, is that a real word?
I don't know. But
Okay, per the mathology of it, as to quote Tom Vassell, it does force you to be incredibly deliberate in a way that a rectangle grid or a square grid wouldn't, because you could fit things more easily. It does force you to make strange choices. If you want one of those huge cows that keeps leveling up, then everything else around it is going to be fenced off in kind of a weird way. So I think it creates a lot of offsetting choices.
it feels
Like
like
a
there's less
puzzle type thing.
freedom because of that.
I agree, and I don't think that's a positive nor a negative. I think that's just kind of, it's just what you'll have to deal with in the tending area.
The only thing, tend is probably my least favorite as well, just because the other ones are so fun. And I think tending has a lot of also upkeep. Got to remember the die roll, got to remember the fences. There's a lot to it. And the other ones are really straightforward. You can just say, this is enjoyable. And you know what? I enjoy the exploration on those too.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things about this game. It is just, it's one of those games that because it's a heavier game, your first playthrough and your second playthrough, you should score almost, maybe not double, but you should really increase your score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that first playthrough, you'll be like 3-4 rounds in, you're like, why is this cargo hold so big?
Yes.
It really reminds me of the first time I played Feast for Odin.
Yeah.
And I couldn't cover up the board. And then the second time through, I'm like, oh, you can.
Oh, you can in the third play. Like, I can get 2 islands and fill those in as well. Yeah. It's,
Right.
You'll see your capability increase a lot.
And I don't know if I mentioned it in the overview, and I should have because it's an important rule, that the colors matter because they cannot touch each other in that cargo hold.
Right.
That's why you have different colors, and that's why the neighbor mechanism, which I'm sure some people are going to say is a shoehorned in mechanism, because it is. I don't think that makes it bad. I actually enjoy it, but definitely was like, we need interaction. Neighbors! But there's some fun things about it. I'm like, you need that. I'm going to give it to you. And I'm like, I don't want you to give that to me because that helps you out. But you know what? I could use it.
I guess I'll take it. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I can't use it. Here, Chris. And I pass it off to him on my next turn.
It is. It's clearly inspired by what's that video game everyone loves? Stardew Valley. Yeah. And
Yeah, there's a little bit of that here, right?
Yeah.
Without monsters.
I'm sorry?
There's no monsters.
Oh
on this
yeah,
one.
yeah. You explore in the caves, you explore in the forest, you give gifts to the neighbor, the neighborhood in the area, and I like those little illusions. Like, oh, this feels like that game that everyone loves. I say that because I've heard everyone else say that I've played this with, and I go, I trust it. But even just having a passing knowledge of the game, I see why everything fits in. So is it a bit tacked on of a mechanism? Maybe. But is it actually impactful in the game? Absolutely.
Oh, sure. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And also, it gives you a different color that you can't get elsewhere, which is really important.
Right.
And it feeds into the scoring at the end. If you really, outdo all of your neighbors, you make them feel like they can't keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, I agree. I also like, how asymmetric everything is. Your player board, your cargo hold has a little of asymmetry there, but then as you play, everyone's doing something different. Your board's going to look totally different later. You look over and this person's been tending a lot, and you're like, I have a pineapple, but I've upgraded all my tools, so I am fishing like an animal in there.
And the game, by nature, forces you to be different because your mining boards will be different. That's a slight difference because, whatever, you're getting what you get. But the cargo holds... I can't copy Joey exactly because he might be getting fish because there are 2 points in his section. They're not on my board. So I can't copy him note for note.
And I think that has a surprising amount of, once again, your second, third, fourth play in, you start seeing what 3 restrictions do you have in your cargo hold. You should probably play towards those, especially the double points one, because...
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, yeah. So, and it makes you... You can start from the outset of the game and say, I want to tend a lot this game. And then you see that you don't really get any benefits from tending in your cargo hold. And you say, well, maybe I should lean fishing a little bit more. And I like that. It doesn't completely punish you if you want to just tend a ton this game or fish a ton this game. But you also can strategically play towards what your little difference of your starting sheet is. And then as you guys are pointing out, it then snowballs into how different you're playing from everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really need to pay attention to the upcoming cards. You see the 2 cards that are coming in? Like some heavy gamers are going to be probably annoyed because they can't see all 10. Because sometimes a card will come in and be like, you need to have 7 of this. 7 up, like level up on the mining thing. I'm like, well, I haven't done that since the beginning of the game. I can't start now. But
Yeah.
when you can complete those, it's critical that you do so to win the game. Because since you only have 2 actions, a card that gives you 3 is unbelievably good.
You say it's going to bother a few heavy gamers and stuff. That is a little my experience, right? That you will accidentally luck into upgraded versions of upcoming cards. And I would rather they be there because it's very fun when you're like, ooh, I have 2 completed columns in my cargo hold. That yellow card is going to be unbelievable for me. But I also recognize that I did luck into it rather than, do it because of my excellent play. So it doesn't. It bothers me a little bit, but not to a point where it's really going to affect whether I want to keep playing the game. But there are moments that I go, oh, well, you're having a better turn because the deck happened to come out that way.
That is the
Yeah, that's
major
true.
luck of the game. That and you might be the worst fisherman ever. But if that's a problem, you can always upgrade your fishing rod.
Yes, which I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this game. It plays simultaneous, which is good. It does mean, you can't really, you could take a time to do each person's turn to see what they're doing because a turn
No
is
reason.
long.
Yeah.
And I think it's really clever of them that put the 2 squares down per round. And when I play, I'm like adamant. You write down the actions you take in those spots.
Yeah.
You like put an R there for T or 10, a F for fishing. Because sometimes you'll do a turn that gives you something else and you do this and you have a free action. You go, did I do 1 or 2 actions? Keep track of that.
That's the other slight negative I have is that with all of the combinations and chainings and all this and the benefits and the specials and this and that, you can kind of get lost in a turn. And I have had that happen where someone says, I don't remember if I did both of my minings this turn or not.
That is one of the downside of, I think, most complex roll and writes. You get lost in the combos.
Yeah.
And you can inadvertently cheat. You'd be like, I don't know if
But
I've
that's why I
done
tell
this
you,
right.
if you're going to do a fishing action, before you take the action, write the F down in that square.
I mean,
Yeah.
in combos, like because you can combo a thing into a combo, into a combo, into a combo, but you had 2 combos back here and you followed 1 branch. Now, I don't remember if I did this one also.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Before you start a new turn action, you should always write that letter down, I think.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, but
No, I'm saying
yeah.
you do the whole combo and you're like, did I start a second action? Well, you should have written a letter down if you
I'm
did.
not talking about a second action. I'm talking about another one of those combo steps.
Oh, if you missed the combo steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened. I've definitely told people to be aware of it, and then myself gone, I'm gonna not do this because I might have accidentally taken it already. So yeah, it's kind of heady in that regard in this game.
This game, I think, is going to be fairly popular. If I only have my own game group to go off of, but people are wanting to play this. It's a
Yes.
fun theme. Ivy Studio games I've found to be very divisive. Some people really love them. They have their own style. This one feels different than most of their games, frankly. It has a different, and especially theme-wise, it's more of a cutesy type theme. But I think it's also going to, some people aren't just not going to like it. It's really huge. It's long, and your first play of it's going to not be the great, probably. Unless it's everyone's first play, then it's fine.
Right. And the first play will be a bit longer. People complain about the play time. 60-90 is accurate. First time, of course, will take it.
But definitely for me, that first play, I remember going, I want to play this again right away.
Yes.
I want to play this some more because it's such an open world, and comparing it to other heavy roll and write games like Hadrian's Wall, I understand this one.
Right.
You want to get ahead. You want to know what you're doing. You want to look at those objective cards and try to figure out to match them. You want to figure out which metals you're going to go for and realize how useful it is to throw stuff away but to get points. It's a lot of fun. What would you give it?
Score-wise, for me, I really enjoy this game. I don't know if I've come across maybe as the most negative out of the 3 of us here, but I think that this game is tremendous. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot up front, but then it becomes so enjoyable to come back to. For me, I'm giving this one an 8. I think there's a few of those things where you can kind of get lost in some of the chains, and the fact that it's going to be random what those upgraded powers are that slide into the market. I think it does a great job of showing you the upcoming one, and so it doesn't bother me that much. But man, this is fun. To speak really quickly to these 2 boxes that we have here, I am perfectly content with the retail one that doesn't come with the markers. I think that also they included really strong quality colored pencils, and it doesn't have the the playmat that organizes the cards, the display and stuff. I think the rulebook is written in such a way that it almost assumes you have the playmat from the deluxe edition. It's a little more confusing than it seems like it needs to be learning the game from the retail box. But if you've watched this overview, then you have an idea of how to set it up, and that will help. So just a few little things like that. I wish the rulebook were a tad bit stronger. All in all, though, man, what a fun game. What a great production. Either one of these that you get, I think you'll be content. It's an 8 for me.
Yeah, and I said some small negatives and stuff, but the sheer fun of the game just drives past that for me. I really like this game. It's not perfect. I'm giving it a 9 because there's a few small things, but I really like it. Each time I play it, it can go, the regular box goes to 6. The big box, what they say on there, can go to it says 6+, but I know that in our game groups, they played a 10-player game of it.
Yeah.
No, okay? No, I'm never going to do that. It's pretty good. But, did you play a 10-player game?
I did.
Yeah, with the person who designed it. That doesn't count.
But even then, it's going to be longer. But anyway, it's.
But it can be, and it's
flexible.
simultaneously. It works really nicely with 2. It works with bigger numbers than that. And I feel like each game, I'm like, ooh, what can I do differently this game? I've learned not to go into a game going, I'm going to fish, because then they flip over the initial 5 cards and there's no fishing there. And I go, I'm going to do something else. But I think it's intriguing, and it's a big sandbox to play in.
Yeah, I think Tom said something that really struck it for me is the whole thing is the vast majority of people I play this with want to immediately run it back and play it again. And the fact they want to then do something different. They're like, okay, I tried fishing, I want to try mining, I want to do this or that. That shows the strength of a game and that replayability, the fact that I want to dive into it now. Can we not do it now? I'm coming at 9.5 on this. I like it. I think the only thing that sets it down is there is a barrier to entry. I think people that don't like, there is a lot of complexity you have to wrap your head around. Once you start going forward, I think it does make a bit more sense. But it is a bit of a learning curve at the beginning. So it's just getting people across that hump to get into it. I think they'll love it.
There you go, folks. That's 10. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Joey Evans.
We want to say thank you to some of our Game Found backers. We want to say thank you to Simone and Gunnar from Hamburg in Germany.
Thank
to
you.
3DJ Dan. And to Alex.
The DJ Dan.
Oh, you're right.
Ooh, the
DJ Dan. Sorry. To Alex and Selena
Yes.
McGuire and the whole Nerd Out crew in El Paso, Texas. Thank you all for supporting Dice Tower, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.